Hello, everyone. It's Sunny here again, talking about health and fitness. My videos usually relate to fitness and health, and specifically healing from ulcerative colitis and Crohn's naturally. Today, I'm going to focus on health and fitness and kind of talk about what health is really, because there's health is seen in so many different ways that we have to break it down into pieces as to who you are and what health is to you. It's December of 2025. I just got my numbers for my ulcerative colitis, and I had good news because I was able to bring it down from 1250 on my calprotectin test to 250. So I have spent the last 3 years working on it, learning how to control it and what actually bothers my stomach, what doesn't, what triggers the inflammation, what doesn't. And it's restrictive, it's hard, it's not easy to do, but you're not limited in food. You can still eat a lot of food, you just have to eat very specific kinds of food. Yes, can enjoy the tasty, flavorful stuff that I love, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to be able to make the stuff you eat tasty and delicious because McDonald's isn't the answer, cheesecakes isn't the answer, things that I love to death but cannot touch. So today we're going to talk about fitness because I'm trying to broaden my YouTube channel on things that in fitness because I focused on ulcerative colitis, but I did that last week where I talked about my numbers coming down. But I want to discuss fitness a little bit because I wrote a book on health and fitness, and I discussed just how the health industry and the fitness industry has become a propaganda of business, of how to make money, take advantage of people, sell them something, get them to do things that are not natural, and how to pretty much fix yourself naturally. And in my book, which is called Health and Fitness, Do Not Believe the Sales Pitch. That's the title of it. And it's under Weiss Ali. If you look it up on in Amazon, you'll see it there. So there's a hard copy, and you could do it through the Kindle. In the book, I discuss fitness, and I cover why I have so much problems with fitness world, because in the last 30, 40 years I've been in the fitness world. It's because I've seen so much garbage out there, so much business and money, and people who aren't informed enough and giving advice that they shouldn't. People who are actually professionals who advise the wrong things just to get their fame and for example, you read The Biggest Loser. There was a show on TV. It was a big thing. They hired high-end professional trainers to come in and help these people, but they tortured these people to the point where it was extremely risky. Some of them ended up on a hospital. Most of them gained their weight back, and it was not a health aspect, but lose weight fast and hope you don't die aspect. That's how they treated it. So today I wanted to speak a little bit about what fitness is and health is, because when we look at health, it's a wide range of levels, I should say. So, for example, health and fitness for an athlete is very different than health and fitness for me. I used to be a wannabe athlete because I wanted to be a pro something. I used to want to bodybuild. I used to play sports all my life, so I was trying to make the NBA, which never made it because too short, unfortunately. I'm only 5'11". But when I trained back then, it was a completely different animal than training now with my health problems, but in general, trying to be healthy. There's people who, for example, are trying to recover from chronic diseases, okay? That's a different level of health than someone who's just gained 20 pounds and trying to lose some weight, trying to be healthier. Then there's people who have no fat, just want to be healthy. And there's people who are obese. And if you're obese, that's a different level, and you have to train for that very differently. Everything has its level, and you have to think about how you eat, what you do, what exercises based on what it is you're trying to fix or what your goal is. It kind of goes together. And I want to give you a little bit of rundown on it. So, on the extreme end, if we look at it to the simplistic version of somebody just being healthy, who's already skinny, doesn't really need anything, just trying to be fit, let's work our way up the chain. So, if you have no health issues, you're a healthy person and you don't have issues, and you wonder, okay, well, what's health to me? Well, for someone like you, health is all about not getting cancer, not dying, not living long enough, hopefully not injuring yourself, not catching some other disease that's out there. Is always something. The answer to you for a person like that is there's only two aspects that you have to worry about. One, food. That's the biggest controller of this. What are you eating? Okay. And the secondary is some kind of level of exercise and activity to get yourself some cardio and some weightlifting, and try to do both of them. You don't have to do it extreme unless you're trying to be a bodybuilder or trying to get buff or whatever it is. That's a different conversation again. But it's different for that person. So in order to be healthy, for someone who's decently healthy as it is, just needs to be more healthy. The trick is to try to eat, imagine what you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay, and your snacks. It seems to be working for you. You're not obese, you're not even chubby, you're in pretty good shape. Maybe you don't exercise very much, maybe you're not active, but you aren't to the point where you're gaining weight, you're not having issues. So if you're trying to be healthier, there's two things you can do. The first is to be active. So activity is really important. So if you're living a more sedentary life, try to be more active. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's going to shoot some hoop by yourself or with some people, to going for walks, to taking your dog out if you have a dog, to go out to the beach and walk around and look at people and make it a half an hour, get some sun on you. You want to get some sun. It's good for you. You don't want to do it for 3 hours because you'll burn, but half an hour sun is really good. And if you can get to the gym, or if you can do some workouts at home, where doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, creating kinds of home exercises, you can Google those or go to YouTube and find people doing those, and you can come up with all these exercises that you can do. And I would not get too creative, because sometimes these people who are creating things are like so off the wall stuff that it can be more dangerous in the sense of injury. So you want to look at the basics and look at exercises, just basic exercise you could do around the house if you don't want to do it outside, or if you go to the gym would be great. And if not that, just be active. Go for a bike ride. Go walk the mall. I don't care what it is you enjoy, do it. It doesn't matter. As long as you're moving more than you're sitting or lying down. That's the trick to health and fitness. If you're in good shape and or not having any health issues. Your nutrition shouldn't be, because the nutrition is not causing any flaws, not causing problems, but you want to be healthier. So how do you become healthier? So instead of going to these extreme diets that are out there, and they have a place for it, for you, the answer is just to eat a food that's not highly processed. So highly processed chips, don't overload the sugar, don't eat all these processed foods outside. Try to limit eating outside food at least no more than once a week. And just cutting back things that comes in cans, bottles, whatever. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a Coke, you can't have pasta or this, that. They all come in those forms. The idea is just decrease it, okay? For you, it's more important to just decrease it and be healthier, and decrease the sugars in your diet, decrease the highly processed foods. So if you were to go Google what's processed versus highly processed, you could see the difference between, for example, highly processed as vegetable oils. Knocking that out of your diet is a major change in your health. That's just one thing you can do. It's a very highly processed item. Eating foods that aren't loaded with chemicals. So if you're buying tons of potato chips every day and tons of cheesecake that's all from the stores, maybe you want to cut that down to half as much, because just that change and having it do it less often will actually help you be healthier, and the risk of other diseases decrease. And that's a simple change. So oil would be a major change, to try to eat more natural oils. Stay away with highly processed vegetable oils, or seed oils is pretty much the same. Cut out the highly processed snacks, chips, cakes, cookies, whatever. Now, when I say cut it out, I don't mean don't eat it. No, just decrease it. Let's just say whatever you eat now, cut it in half. That's not very hard to do, because you still get to enjoy it, just not as much. Just plain sugar, of course, you want to cut that in half. That's an easy fix. So you don't want to eat too much sugar that comes in. I don't care if it's cane sugar, that whatever sugar you come up with, it's still just cutting it in half. What else can we do? If you think of natural ways, those I think is enough for you. I think that you will notice a major change. That's a step in the right direction. And it might be to the point where really you will, within 6 to 8 weeks, see a major difference in yourself. Your energy level will change in a positive way. Your weight change will be better, because you will lose some weight. Maybe not be a lot, couple of pounds, but it'll be there. And in general, you'll feel more focused and more mentally aware of what it is you're doing around you, and saying, oh, I've been sitting too long, I'm going to go walk today a little bit. Or I'm going to, you know what, this bag of chips, man, I'm going to go for a healthier bag of chips. There's healthy bags of chips out there you can eat, which only has 2-3 ingredients. There's one called Canyon Country. I use that example. Has only 3 ingredients. It's got avocado oil, potatoes, and sea salt. So for junk food, it's pretty damn tasty. I have it with avocado and onions. I make a little guac thingamajig. You make your own, whatever version. Put the chips in there, and if you're craving junk food, that's your junk food. So unnecessary stuff, but overall much better than what's out there. So that's the step one. The next person that I would look at is probably got some weight on him. So if you got a little bit of weight, 20, 30 pounds you're trying to lose, you maybe not have the major chronic issues, but maybe a little gas here and a little tummy pain, something that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you're tired a lot, these kinds of things. With that kind of person, we would continue doing what I mentioned before, the changes there, right? For you, the most important thing to do is you need to cut down your sugar, because if you have energy issues, energy is created by the body through the process of ATP. Okay, ATP is the energy molecule that charges you up. The problem is everybody thinks, oh, I need to eat carbs, I need to eat carbs, I need to eat carbs. Your friend's not carbs. What you need to do is decrease carbs, because what you don't want is overloading in your each cell in your body. There's a thing called mitochondria, and there's tons of it in there. It's kind of like the workhorse of your body, or of each cell, but your body as well. The mitochondria produce your ATP. So as long as you're not eating too much sugar and carbs, your body will take fats and some of the carbs you eat, convert into energy in the mitochondria, and create ATP, and that becomes your energy source. And when you work out, your ATP, your phosphate drops off. You have the body will attach another phosphate to it, and you have your ATP again. But when it's overloaded with too much junk food and sweets and carbs and all that, that tends to strain the mitochondria. So if the mitochondria gets strained, it does not produce ATP properly. So if it's not producing ATP, then you're causing problems and stress on your body. So when you're creating these stressors on your body because you're not producing ATP, your body can go in a stage where it's like, oh, well, I can't use all the sugar. What I'm going to do with it because it's overloading me, I'm going to store it as fat. Hence why you're trying to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds. So that is a small change, but it's a very important one. So that would be the next step from all the stuff we talked about. Cut the sugar down more, cut the carbohydrates down more. So what you want to do is maybe make, if you're trying to get that weight loss, maybe make no more than 15% of your diet carbohydrates or sugar combined. Remember, rice, breads, pastas, these are all sugars. They're not separate thing from carbohydrates. They're different forms of it, but they're all sugar. Your body does not know the difference. So if you can cut those down, and again, if you're thinking about it, we've already cut it down to 50% on the first program we talked about. If someone doesn't have it, maybe you need to cut it down 75%. That in itself will help make that major change, because once you don't have the extra carbohydrates and sugar coming in the body, your body does not turn it into fat, because it'll store it as an energy thing around your belly, inside your organs, wherever it can find. So by cutting that down, automatically you decrease the conversion. And if you can do that, then your body starts thinking, okay, well, I need to use other sources of energy. So what does your body use? Your body uses the fats that's been stored from all that sugar and all the other stuff you've eaten that's been stored as fat. So now your body goes into, oh, I'm getting not as much carbs, I'm a little low, I need some energy sources, so I'll use the fat that's stored as my energy. So that's a good start to get yourself somewhere that's losing a couple of pounds, maybe 10, 15 pounds, be healthier, and prevent, you're in that stage where you're chronic disease, where you're a little chubby, a little overweight, you're probably not exercising or not doing anything, but you are causing that problem. Now, the other thing you can do is to try to add some exercise. And you, again, even though you're doing a little bit here and there where you could just be active if you're healthy, I would recommend 3 days a week going to the gym, lifting weights and doing cardio together. Maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Don't have to do it that much in the beginning. You could do 15 minutes the first week or two. Then the next week, do 20 minutes. Then the next 2-3 weeks, do 30 minutes. And you continue till you get to 45 minutes. That's a combination of some weights and cardio. And don't get stressed over, am I doing enough? Or should I do more weights? Should I do more cardio? Just split it in half, do both. You'll be fine. You're going to put some muscle on. The muscle will help burn some of those calories. The activities will burn some calories. The workouts will burn out some calories. Your body also, with the fact that you're cutting the sugar, now is releasing the fat. So you're hitting it from every angle, and it's not going to be like ton of weight losing fast, but you will lose a couple of pounds every month. So that's the next stage. The next stage of this is if you already actually have chronic diseases. This becomes a little more strict and a little different, because if you have chronic health issues, that means you've gone past the point of just being a little chubby, past the point of, oh, I have a little gas here and there. Oh, I'm a little tired today. You've got to the point where your body's starting to fail, okay? So depending on what degree it is, for example, if you, for example, you notice some extra pimples growing on you, you notice that you have maybe cirrhosis on your skin, or maybe you're feeling a little bit of joint pain, or maybe stomach gas pressure is becoming a little painful. Those are all starts of having chronic issues. More severe ones would be you become pre-diabetic, your blood pressure goes up, your energy levels are really bad because you're always tired. These become different stages of the problem. You can be obese. So if you have more than 30 pounds, usually you're more likely on the obese side. What else can you have? Inflammation. That's the big one, because the inflammation is the starting of major problems, because you can have ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. It can affect your arthritis. It can start arthritis. It can cause. There's studies have shown that there's a connection between inflammation, sugar, and Alzheimer's and mental disorders even. And depending on to the degree you're at, that can affect you. Now, for you, who has any of those, whether you have one or two problems or four or five, doesn't matter, you have to be more vigilant in your diet. So, for someone like you, we follow the same perspective that we talked about in the past with the other two people. But for you, you're going to have to do one extra thing. You're going to have to go down to no more than 10% of carbohydrate sugar in your diet. The rest could be fruits, vegetables, and meat. And always, for all groups, meat should be at least 50% of your diet, no less. And if you're having chronic issues, like I just mentioned, you need to go up to 60, 70% of your diet. So you need to really increase the meat. Because meat in any form is it's not inflammatory, it's not anti-inflammatory, it's very neutral food. So it doesn't cause any problems. It builds muscle, it provides protein, and it's very filling so that you don't get hungry all the time. So one of the big problems people have when they change these diets is they're eating a low fat, low meat, but they're trying to get by with salad and fruit, and then they're always hungry. No, that's not the answer. The answer is you increase your meat, you increase your natural fats. That's fats like lard, like beef tallow, butter, ghee, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil. Stick to those guys. Make those your fat, but eat them as much as you want. Don't try to control yourself. I don't mean to go gobble down cups of it. Just when you cook or you make food, don't hold back. So if you need to cook steak, put up plenty of oil in there. You make eggs, put plenty of oil in there. If you're having salad, put some extra virgin olive oil in it. Don't try to put a drop or two because you're worried about how much it is. Put plenty of it on there. And more importantly, you need to make sure that as part of your program, that 10% has to be very tight. So one of the big problems is if you're not staying within that 10%, which is not hard, but it's not easy because you're giving up a lot of things you love. For example, the easiest way I can do it is, one of the things I tell people is only have one meal in a day that has carbohydrates. That's an easy way to do it. So if you have, for example, some rice, or maybe let's just say you're having pasta that day, right? Make a small portion of pasta that can fill your hand. That's it. Make that your pasta. The rest should be all meat, some veggies, and fruits. That's it. No desserts, no side things, whatever. If you can keep that for about 6 to 8 weeks, you'll notice a major difference. One of the things you'll notice is a lot of these health issues that you're starting to have that's noticeable, with the joint pains and the gas becoming stomach pains and blood pressure getting high, inflammation, these things, you'll notice that those will actually calm down, and you'll notice you're not having as many episodes. And maintaining that becomes very important, because if you go back to the other way of eating, then you're back to the same problem. So for you, it's all the stuff before. The big change is going to be going down to 10% cardio. And making sure for you, weightlifting and cardio has a major part of your life. So 4 to 5 days a week, you want to try to do it. Again, you're not pushing yourself, you're not straining yourself, just a good workout. It doesn't matter how many, 45, 50 minutes, again, same thing. Split it between two cardio, weightlifting. You could do 1 day cardio, 1 day weightlifting, or combine the two, doesn't matter. And that will get you the results you need to get rid of some of these problems you're having, okay? The next stage of this is for people who have chronic issues. Now, these are people who are actually been having a lot of issues that started out like the people previously mentioned, didn't take care of it for years. They kind of ignored it. They thought, oh, it's just this, it's just that. They let it go till it gets so bad that now they're either pre-diabetic, diabetic. They have either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. They can have definitely blood pressure. Their cholesterol is out of control. Energy is definitely a major issue. Weight's usually a major issue for most of them, not always, but most times weight's an issue, usually 50 pounds plus. Muscle mass tends to be low with the more fat you have because people don't, you're obviously not being very active and lifting weights and keeping yourself fit. And you more than likely have been consuming a lot of carbs, processed foods, and bad oils. Those are major things we talked about. For you, it is very important to stick to that. That is what's going to fix all your chronic health issues. You need to be at the 10% marker or less, and you have to be very strict with yourself. Now, for those who are already diabetic, who has ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, if you have a heavy case of it and you're severe, there's a good chance your body is not reacting to anything very well. So you may have to cut down to just a ketogenic diet or it's the carnivore diet, but it's a heavy meat and oil diet that has no carbs, no veggies, no nothing. Okay, and I'll just explain that a little bit further when I get into it. The reason we do a ketogenic diet, if you're in the extreme version of this where you have all these chronic issues, is your body is having multitude of issues. You're more than likely storing fat around your liver. Your liver is struggling to process the sugar, so then it's dumping it in your body. The body is getting overloaded with sugar, so you're increasing more and more insulin. The mitochondria is struggling because there's too much sugar trying to get in. It can't. The mitochondria can't keep up, so it's rejecting the sugar. Now you're becoming insulin resistant because your body's not doing well with processing sugar, so now you're breathing more and more insulin. So when that happens, your mitochondria is not being processing ATP properly, so now your energy levels are affected. So as you can see, it's like it's a domino effect. I always say like a chain and a link. It's just one after another after another. So your goal is to try to, this is not where you can spot fix. You fix it all by going to a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet. My favorite word that I use from Dr. Ken Berry, who talks about, you can look him up on Google and YouTube and stuff. Dr. Ken Berry says the proper human diet. And in one of my books, I mention him and I talk about the proper human diet. I make that a big thing. Again, not my word, it's Dr. Berry's, so I credit him. He's been one of those inspirational people that have, Dr. Chaffee and Dr. Berry have really been a big part of learning how to deal with my health conditions I had. So if you're having those kinds of major issues, the step is to either do the proper human diet, which is more of a ketogenic diet, or another version of the proper human diet is just a carnivore diet, which is just eating meats, fats, and that's it. That's your whole diet. Now, these are people who have major problems, major health issues, and at some point you may be able to go from carnivore to keto, and even from keto to trying to go low carb, and you'll be fine. But you'll have to go be in it long enough for your body to heal itself to get from one stage to another. And if you ever go back to eating too many of the wrong things, you're back to the same problem. Okay? So you have to be very cautious of yourself. Now, the one thing that we have to discuss is, well, there's cheeses, there's dairy, there's beans, things like that you can eat for health. Now, the problem with these foods, nuts is another one. The problem with these four is that not everyone processes them the same. Not everybody tolerates them the same. A lot of the allergy problems people have that causes some of these chronic health issues may be caused by those, and they just don't realize it. And by just removing those, they can fix a lot of the health problems. So if somebody came to me and said, hey, a lot of gas problems, my stomach's not good, I have diarrhea, I think I might have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's or something. I'm always tired, this, that. It's not bad. It's not, a major thing, but I have diarrhea a lot. And I have some joint pains and this and that. The first thing I would do is just knock out those things. So no dairy, no beans, no nuts, and no cheeses, unfortunately. So anything dairy related, beans and nuts. So those are the three things that, in general, they're healthy if you can tolerate them and you don't have a problem with them. And you eat it sparingly, usually it's not a problem. But when you already have issues, then those become a problem. For example, I'm lactose intolerant. And it started out with just having diarrhea from it. But I didn't realize I was having lactose and things that never connected from my head. Most restaurants put milk or use dairy in a lot of stuff they cook with that I didn't pay attention to. I would have protein powders and thinking, oh, I'll be fine with those because that's different. No, it's dairy. Most times it's whey or, I'm blanking out. There's only two kinds of protein, casein. That's from milk. So those could be a problem. Now, the other thing could be is you could be allergic to the proteins as well. That's a different type of issue. So when you have it, your body's immune system reacts to it very negatively, starts attacking you, or the chemicals that come out of the milk, and then the molecules, and then it starts affecting your body. So then your body gets inflamed, and then your immune system starts attacking the inflammation because it's not a natural process that you have. So you could be sensitive to that. So same thing with nuts. You could be sensitive to the protein. You could just be a simple allergy. It could be anything. So I would knock those out for a while just to start to be on the safe side to make sure those aren't the culprits. Those are things you could test later and add on every couple of months and see how you do with it. And if you have no reactions to it, then you can consume it. I'm not a pro-anti that. Just those are the known major causes of allergens for most people, and sometimes more serious problems. Like some people have celiac problems, right? So they're sensitive to gluten. So maybe they're not bad, just enough where it gives them a little gas and discomfort in the stomach. But they can eat it. It's not to the point where they're laying in bed curled up from the pain because they can't deal with it at all. They have celiac disease. So that means they can't process any of it. But it could also be just the proteins that they're made of, because flour today is not the flour 100 years ago. So you may be sensitive to the protein because the protein structure has changed. So it may not even be the gluten itself, but the protein, that's the problem. So the best option to do is to try to decrease and get rid of it. And for those people, the exercise is a must, because you have to build some muscle, maintain, because you're probably having diarrhea, you're losing weight. So you need to have some exercise, some cardio, because not only are you putting muscle mass on and getting a workout, you're also inducing increased mitochondria in your body. The extra muscles help burn some of the extra sugars in your body, and you're using up the sugars that you're taking in from the little fruits or whatever you're having. So it's multitude of benefits, okay? So cardio and exercise becomes a major part of your life. Now, again, we're not pushing ourselves hard. We're not trying to do 7 days a week, just 3 to 4 days a week, maybe 5 if you can keep up with it, and make sure it's consistent. So those are the major kinds of people that I look at nutrition-wise and health-wise, that what I would consider having issues with health. You're going from someone who's not that bad to someone who's extremely having problems. In between that is a variety of spectrum of things. So it's hard for me to say one particular diet works for everybody because it doesn't. I can't say the right exercise for everyone's the same. For someone who's healthy, activity and being very active tends to be more than enough. For someone who's chronic diseases, cardiovascular and weightlifting become very important because of the benefits of that in itself. Yep. So if you're looking to try to make yourself better, then you start with trying to go step 1 if that's where you're at, step 2 which I gave you, step 3 which I gave you. So it depends on where you are in the spectrum. The things that are a must that you have to do, and these are a must. First is get rid of highly processed foods. So chips, dips, cookies, crap that's not homemade and natural, get rid of them. Okay. That is a big problem with our diets because there's so much chemicals and that can not only be cancerous but also affect the stomach bacteria. It can cause problems and health issues. Okay. The second thing that I think is really important is change all your oils from vegetable oils to natural fats, and the exception to that being is extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil. And your natural fats could be butter, ghee, beef tallow, duck fat, lard like bacon fat, any fat that comes from an animal that would be good to cook with and eat. Again, I'm not saying to go eat it by the cupful, just cook with it plentifully, not worry about cholesterol. Cholesterol is not caused by eating fatty meats or having fat. Cholesterol is caused by too much sugar and carbs in your diet. That's a whole new subject that I don't want to even get to because there's a process by which extra sugar by your liver gets converted into triglycerides, which becomes a problem. That causes the problem. But that gets very complicated. That's a whole story of another time. So these are just the basic things you can do to make yourself healthy. These aren't complicated. They're not. I'm not making it to where you have to restrict yourself and kill yourself over it. The only people who may need to be extremely strict is that the people who have chronic diseases or at best really close to having them. You would have to be more strict and more careful. But the one thing good about all these diets is you never go hungry. So the portion size is not the problem. If you eat plenty of meat with fat in your diet, there's no way you're going to be hungry because at some point you get filled and your body will tell you, hey, I'm stuffed, I'm enough for this meal. And then you're good for about 5-6 hours. The next one comes, same thing, do the same thing. Dinner, same thing. Follow the structure. And that's one of the biggest problems for people because usually hunger is the problem. Because if you're not filling yourself up with fatty meats every time you eat, then, or let's just say you're having a salad that day, you don't feel like eating too much meat, so you put a couple of pieces of chicken, you're not really feeling it, you want salad. They put lots of oil in it, extra virgin olive oil or something like that. That satiates you because the fat is very filling. The salad will not do it. Otherwise, an hour later, you're going to be like, oh man, I'm hungry because salad didn't really do me. So those are the things I think it'll be very important for you to try to make those changes that are healthy. It's fitness oriented. Now, all this, what I talk about, is not for someone who's trying to be an athlete or trying to make some big, compete in something or trying to be in a certain physical shape. This is all in trying to be healthy and more fit, and that's it. So as long as you keep that up, then you'll be heading the right direction and you will be much, much, much healthier than the average Joe out there. And it's the small changes that makes the biggest difference. So hopefully this helps. If you need any help or have questions, feel free to reach out to me at lazaruslost@gmail.com. It's L as in Larry, A as in Apple, Z as in Zebra, A as in Apple, R as in Robert, U as in under, S as in Sam, then the word lost, Lost, so lazaruslost@gmail.com. I'd be glad to help you. If you have questions or you need to talk about stuff, feel free to reach out. I'm an easygoing guy. I know I look very whatever in these videos, but I'm a very easy person to talk to. Trust me, I'm there to listen, and I'm there to give the best advice I can to make you healthier. I have a lot of experience in health and fitness, from degree in nutrition to years of fitness and health that I've been in. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday and Christmas.